3-0, the Chicago Bulls. And then came Game 4. Tonight, the Game 5 few anticipated. The Sonics have asserted themselves, and they've denied the Bulls a defining moment. There'll be no sweep in these finals, so for at least one more game, the prize remains unclaimed, still one win away. The Bulls hope that when the smoke clears tonight, they'll be taking the goods back home to Chicago. Game 5 next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA Finals.
The line at Key Arena is not for Game 5 ticket refunds, as so many had expected. Instead, one more game for the Sonics on their home floor before some of the most exuberant fans in the NBA. One more chance to turn these NBA Finals upside down. Hi again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. After losing Game 3 here by 22 points, the question was whether the Sonics could even make it interesting in Game 4. Instead, they herded the Bulls out of the building. Seattle played its best game in weeks. The Bulls played one of their worst games in memory. Of course, the Sonics had a lot to do with that. And in a 43-point turnaround, Seattle took Game 4 by 21. Sonics coach George Karl knows his team has waved a red flag in front of these Bulls, and he expects tonight's game to be played at a furious pace right from the opening tip.
First 12 minutes of Game 5 are going to be unbelievably intense. And if we can win that game of energy, I think we'll win a big part of the chance of being successful. We can play with the Chicago Bulls and beat them if we don't turn the basketball over. I think if we control the turnover situation, it's going to be a close game.
At what point does this stop being about putting the best face on it, salvaging a game, playing well, playing for pride, making the Bulls sweat for it, maybe sending it back to Chicago? At what point does it stop being about that and start being about winning the series?
I think if we win Friday night, they got to be serious about it. You know, they still have a luxury of throwing one game away, and that could be Friday. They don't want to get to Game 7, and so I think they're going to try to end it on Friday, and then they're going to try to end it in Game 6. But I'm just saying, if we handle their pressure, they're going to have to earn the win.
Well, the Bulls tried to get back into Game 4 by pressuring the Sonics in the second half, but Seattle stood its ground. We're getting set for Game 5. Michael Jordan and the Bulls still trying to finish off one of the great seasons in NBA history, while Shawn Kemp, who's been the most consistent performer in these finals, looks to put the Sonics on his back and take this thing back to Chicago. We'll hear from our game announcers, Albert, Gukas, and Walton next. The tip-off for Game 5 about 10 minutes away. Back we come to Seattle right after these messages. Back in Seattle for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Chicago leads it 3-1, trying to wrap up their 4th title in the 90s by beating Seattle. Michael Jordan had 23 points in Game 4. For him, his lowest ever output in a finals game. Much of it came with Gary Payton guarding him, though afterwards Jordan refused to give Payton credit, saying, "No one can stop me, I can only stop myself. I missed some easy shots." The truth is, Jordan finds the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year annoying. He views the sometimes brash youngster as impudent, and he would love to have a big game at his expense. The gentlemen who will call tonight's game are Marv Albert, Matt Gukas, and Bill Walton. Let's join them at courtside. Marvelous.
All right, thank you, Bob. And this past Wednesday night in Game 4, we saw the Sonics team that won 64 games during the regular season. The Sonics team that looked so impressive in the playoffs earlier against the Houston Rockets. Now, Bill, was that a one-game shot on Wednesday night, or will we see more of the same tonight?
Barb, I think Seattle has finally found their long one-loss game. But now they're going to have to do it against a Chicago team that will certainly be taking Seattle a lot more seriously from now on. In Game 4, Seattle rode the fabulous shooting that just kept getting better and better through the course of the game. Over the last 3 quarters, they only missed 17 shots. 4 times they got offensive rebounds on those plays. Sean Kemp was absolutely beautiful. He stuck with his power game and turned stats into impact and control. He made his last 8 shots. And then Gary Payton spread Chicago's defense early with 3-pointers. That opened up his driving game. He finished beautifully. Now, Kemp and Payton are going to have to bring even more than they did in their magnificent contributions in Game 4. Now, the keys for Seattle: take one game at a time, play with confidence, hope, and poise, and don't make Michael Jordan mad at all. Now, Mar, this is going to be the most well-played game this entire series so far. I think the home court may be enough for Seattle tonight.
All right, and Matt, it's just so unusual to see the Bulls come off such a lackluster performance.
Well, the Bulls are entitled to have a bad game. No excuses. Give Seattle most of the credit. But what was this? Breakdowns all over the place. Tony Kukoc just throwing a pass to nobody in particular. And then Jordan throws one to Scottie Pippen, but he wasn't in the game. And on the Kukoc miss of the long jump shot, Detlef Schrempf releasing, and Steve Kerr way too late getting back. Chicago's half-court defense lethargic as Jordan gets no support from Bill Wennington on the tight curl. And when Michael and Scottie combine for 10 for 36 from the field and 1 for 10 from downtown, you will get the rare Chicago loss. But I got to think we will see a much more determined Chicago team tonight.
So once again, the Bulls are looking to wrap it up. The Sonics hoping to extend the series. Coming up in a moment, Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by New Miller Beer, the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy. By Jeep, makers of the new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Wrangler. And by Prudential, live well, make a plan, be your own rock.
Another beautiful day in Seattle, a 63-degree mild day here in the Pacific Northwest. This capacity crowd is ready for Game 5 of the NBA Finals Series, and we're set for the introduction of the lineups. So let's join with the public address voice of Key Arena, Jim Gracie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Key Arena at Seattle Center for Game 5 of the 1996 NBA Finals between the Chicago Bulls and your Seattle Supersonics. And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the starting lineups. First of all, for the visiting Chicago Bulls. A 6'6" guard from North Carolina, number 23, Michael Jordan. 6'11" guard from Croatia, number 7, Tony Kukoc. A 7'2" center from New Mexico, number 13, Luke Longley. 6'7" forward from Central Arkansas, number 33, Scottie Pippen. And a 6'6" forward from Southeast Oklahoma State, number 91, Dennis Rodman. And the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson. number 20, Gary Payton. A 6'3" guard from Bradley University, number 33, Hersey Hawkins. 6'9" center from Penn State University, number 34, Frank Rikowski. 6'10" forward from the University of Washington, number 11, dead left Shrimp. And a 6'10" forward from Trinity Junior College, number 40, Sean Kemp. And the head coach of the Seattle Supersonics, George Karl.
Well, once again, this crowd of better than 17,000 hoping to ignite the home team. And as always, we have double coverage on the sideline. Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm. Let's check in first with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. Before Game 4, I reported that the mood on the Bulls team was worried about the Sonics. Now, after getting whipped by them in Game 4, Scottie Pippen told me, well, we have seen the enemy, and it's still us. We just didn't play very well. Now, everybody on this team is tested, and you want to talk about being really tested, that's Michael Jordan. I tried to talk to him about the game, and he just said, I don't even want to talk about it. I'd rather express myself in the way that I play tonight. For the Seattle part of it, let's go down to Hannah.
Thanks, Ahmad. Well, on this, the beginning of Father's Day weekend, an incredible sight awaiting George Karl on the bench as he came out before the game. This was a surprise engineered by his wife, Kathy, the presence of his 90-year-old father, Joseph Karl. Now, George told me he's asked Joseph to attend games hundreds of times, but he's been unable to come to a Sonics game in 4 years. He has a lot of trouble seeing and a lot of trouble walking, but he listens to every single game on the radio. George told me that his dad has always been his inspiration and will be again tonight for Game 5 as they hope to celebrate Father's Day a little early because on the real occasion on Sunday, George hopes to be playing Game 6 in Chicago. Mark?
Thank you, Hannah. An emotional moment at the Sonics bench for the Sonics head man, George Karl. The officials, Hugh Holland, Jess Kersey, and Ed T. Rush. This is the crew that worked Game 2. That is Hugh, who has not been a favorite of the Chicago Bulls.
Well, they have had their problems with it, but they can't worry about that right now. Phil Jackson telling us before the game he wants to take the energy out of this crowd and Sonics team.
Luke Longley and Sean Kemp on the opening tip, controlled by Frank Rikowski, who is starting his second straight game. Irvin Johnson, the usual starter, did not start here on Wednesday night and has not seen much action in this series. Kemp going at Longley. Sean Kemp coming off a sensational game on Wednesday. 12 of 17, 25 points, and 11 rebounds, and he's given Seattle a 2-0 lead.
Terrific way to establish yourself early. Go to a power move, make them respect that, then trick them later.
Nice pass from Luke Longley for Tony Kukoc. Phil Jackson telling us earlier that Ron Harper will not play at all in the first half. Beautiful push by Rikowski to find Kemp. Harper bothered by the aching knees, and Phil would rather use him straight, and he's planning to go with him in the second half. So Kukoc in the starting lineup once again.
They did so well with Tony starting in Game 3, so they don't really lose anything. But what a way to attack pressure. Frank Rikowski taking it about 60 feet, making a fabulous play.
Here is Kukoc for three. Tony Kukoc, who was 6 for 11, 14 points on Wednesday night, able to hit from downtown. You see the pressure being supplied by the Bulls here at the Star.
Jordan and Payton going right at each other, but Kemp just schooling Luke Longley with quickness and balance.
And Sean Kemp had hit his last 10 shots going back to the second quarter in Game 4. Nice pass. Rodman coming up short, but foul. The lead thrown by Jordan. Frank Rikowski on the foul, and Rodman will shoot a pair.
The ball movement is terrific early on for Chicago. Kukoc, Pippen, Jordan, everybody touching it. Seattle gambling. They know Jordan's going to come out with a big game attempted takeover. That's going to leave Rodman wide open a lot tonight.
Well, the bodies are more alive for Chicago in this game. They had to be more than they were in Game 4. And the way you get yourself going is defensively and extend that pressure up the floor. The scary thing is the Sonics are almost eating it up. They're looking forward to that pressure and want to attack.
Well, Dennis Rodman, only a 52% free throw shooter during the regular season, able to hit on both free throws. Bulls with a 7-4 advantage with 2 minutes gone by in this first quarter. That intended for Kemp. Leg block on Rodman, a new 24, given Seattle. Well, following defeats this season, the Bulls have won 10 of 11. 10 up and 1 down. That includes the playoffs.
Shawn Kemp looks spectacular in the opening moments here. I'd come right back to him and just wear him out on the offensive end for Seattle.
Shrimp. Nice move, but way off on the shot. And here is Jordan. Michael Jordan on the breakaway.
And the hop. Did he ever get up in the air? Great play by Dennis Rodman.
Bulls 9. And the Sonics 4. Kemp to the crossover. Well, the matchup continues. Luke Longley defending against Shawn Kemp. And Kemp has opened up by hitting 3 of 4. Bulls lead by 3.
The quickness of Kemp on the excellent interior pass.
Oh, the tip. Rodman missing on the first attempt and then able to hang in and showing how active he can be and tipping it home. Bulls 11 and the Sonics 6. Rakowski for 3. And a loose ball foul against Longley.
I think Phil Jackson's got to come with a different look on Shawn Kemp. Is the beautiful outlet pass by Rodman over the top. Payton unable to take care of business. Now, he can make up a lot with his athletic ability, but nobody's going to catch that.
The Chicago Bulls are not double teaming Kemp, which is going to give him a lot of opportunities to keep others from getting involved.
And Hersey Hawkins took that hit. So Hawkins driving it to the basket, fouled by Pippen.
Again, if Chicago doesn't do a better job of keeping Payton in front of him, keeping him on the perimeter, that's going to set up Hawkins, Shrimp, and Kemp all night long.
Non-shooting foul. Hersey hit before the shot attempt. Gary Payton being played by Michael Jordan. And Hugh Hollins indicating an illegal defense. That is the first such call against Chicago.
It's called on Dennis Rodman, who is guarding Rakowski, who was trying to lure him away from the basket.
Now Kemp posting up, facing the double team. Shot clock is at 12. Here is Shrimp.
Kukoc has got to go to the floor for loose balls. That's going to set the tempo for the entire team as he gets away with a traveling violation.
Now Jordan gives it right back to Kukoc. Driving Longley. And the foul is called. Luke Longley surrounded. And the contact was made. Foul called on Kemp.
Scottie Pippen just brought everybody together at the top of the key to let them know what he is trying to do. Scottie has really labored shooting the basketball in every area, so he's trying to move without the ball, work underneath the basket, do some posting up, and he's getting knocked around like a pinball in there, saying, hey guys, keep an eye out, I'm open.
One of the reasons Scottie's labored, he's worn out over the last decade of playing championship-level basketball. The guy has not had a break at all. Jordan took that nice year and a half off, and it showed with fresh spring in his legs.
It's Chicago leading 12-6. 4 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Hawkins off the screen. Rakowski tried the back tap, but it carried out of bounds, so the Bulls will get it back.
Frank Rakowski's done some very good things. He's discarded the physical play. They've learned to ignore Rodman so far in the last game and throughout this game in the early goings. Nice, skilled contributions, Rakowski.
Well, the Bulls have opened up by hitting 4 of the first 6 shots. beat Payton for his second field goal. And it's the Bulls by 6. Sonics get right back. They try to beat the Bulls in the transition. Schrempf keeps it alive. Now Payton being guarded by Pippen. So it is Jordan against Burkowski. Payton for 3. Rebounded by Hawkins. And the outside official, Hugh Hollins, indicating a kick ball against the Bulls. The Sonics will maintain possession as a timeout now is being called by George Karl.
Well, a couple of times now, Michael Jordan has had the opportunity to take off and almost like on a trampoline. Perfect timing, perfect feed from Tony Kukoc as Michael Jordan, way above the rim, takes care of business.
Once again, the matchup at the start of tonight's game is Michael Jordan and Gary Payton. We talked with Payton about Jordan and Gary with some words that will not be appreciated by Michael Jordan. Take a listen.
Jordan is not like he used to be Jordan. You know, he done got a little age. He was off of basketball. I think me playing him, I have to pressure him up a little bit. My best bet is to stop him is to really get him tired. You know, when he gets tired, you know, he doesn't take as many shots. A lot of people come and double him, and then, you know, he has to get a lot of rest. So I think if, you know, I keep trying to play him tough and go at him in both ends of the floor and get him tired, that's a big advantage to me.
The foolishness of youth. Gary Payton, he'll learn to regret that statement.
And Jordan gets inside, but could not convert. Rebounded by Burkowski. Well, it's one of those situations, you know what Gary Payton was trying to say, but probably should have pulled it back.
I think Michael Jordan is better than ever. He's so much smarter, his skills are so much better, and he's not trying to play a game based on athleticism and individuality anymore.
Shot clock at 5. Schrempf, he's been off. Rebound, Longley. Pippen with Hawkins getting back. We're halfway through the first quarter. Bulls with the ball up by 6 points. Kukoc for 3. Schrempf feeling for Kukoc. Schrempf going at Kukoc and finding Payton. Not able to hit from downtown.
Gary Payton just does not feel comfortable shooting the ball. 0 for 3 so far. Just rushing his shots a little bit. And actually triple team Schrempf on the play.
Scottie Pippen called for the travel. Scottie Pippen coming off a 4 of 17 the other night, preceded by shooting 5 of 14 in Game 3. In fact, shooting only 35% for the series. Look at the Seattle breakdown. It's been all camp 4 or 5 on the field. The rest of the club 0 for 8.
Come right back to Kemp. Dump it in low. Let him go again.
Sonics have missed 7 of the last 8 shot attempts. Payton going at Jordan. Could not get the shot off and is called for a foul and is very upset.
It was a good foul. Jordan went for the fake. Payton attacked while he was in the air. Man's in the air like this, you take advantage. Few players better in history of this than Larry Bird to get the guy just 1 little inch off balance and then attack that hoop. Easy play to call.
And a demonstrative reaction by Michael Jordan, and then put his shirt in his mouth to try to almost, in effect, bite his lip. George Karl desperately searching for some offense now, coming in with Perkins.
The reaction residue from what took place in Game 4, where Jordan was very upset with the officials. And that last touch by Seattle. Sam Perkins has come on for the first time. And here's Nate McMillan, who provided a tremendous lift for the Sonics in Game 4. And Nate receiving a standing ovation. Bill Wennington has come on for Chicago's first substitution. It's the Bulls 14 and the Sonics 8. And as Jordan made his move, he was held, blocked by Payton.
Well, there's the intelligence of the veteran Michael Jordan, knowing he felt a questionable call on him down at the other end. went as soon as he would get the opportunity, put it on the floor, and challenge Payton.
But Kemp in a lot of trouble. He's the only guy that scored for Seattle. George Karl has to take him out for medical purposes. Not a good sign for Seattle.
And you saw the stretching by Sean Kemp. Trying to get back into it. Jordan thought he was fouled. Instead, a travel is called. Traveling violation.
A hard double team on the screen roll situation, and Brikowski coming hard, and Michael trying to split it, does so, but got tripped up and got out of control.
4.5 remaining in this first quarter. Scottie Pippen did not like that call. A hack on Pippen against McMillan, and for Scottie, that is his second.
And frustration on the part of Scottie Pippen, mainly because he cannot get involved at all at the offensive end. Has not taken a shot yet, trying to get himself going defensively, putting this pressure on Nate McMillan, and just a little touch foul there. Scottie reacts, as did Phil Jackson at the other end.
And Phil Jackson, with a change of plans, he had told us that he would not look to play Ron Harper in the first half because of the knee problem, but because of the fouls picked up by Pippen, forced to insert Harper here in the first quarter. Sonics struggling, as you can see. Rushed shot by Perkins.
Chicago is a fabulous defensive team. That's how they got to this position. You got 3 guys in the first team All-League defense, and they're just shutting down the Sonics offense.
Seattle 4 of 15 shooting. Now Jordan is being guarded by McMillan.
Good pick, Rodman.
Travel on Wellington. A series of calls against the Bulls in this first quarter.
And there's no question how good Chicago's defense is, but don't forget, Seattle plays outstanding defense as well. Very aggressive, very physical, and so far in this ballgame, they have really frustrated the Bulls' triangle offense. It is not crisp, it is not sharp.
And Sean Kemp is back on the floor after going through a series of stretching exercises. Perkins eluding Rodman. Yes. So the Sonics with their first field goal outside of Sean Kemp. It's the Bulls 14 and the Sonics 10, and the Bulls want to talk it over. That field goal by Perkins representing their first points in the last 3.5 minutes. Scottie Pippen sitting down after collecting his second foul. He had said he would be more aggressive offensively tonight. You can see the struggle through this final series. He feels Wednesday night he was settling for shots instead of taking it to the basket, but as we touched on earlier, sore ankles and other injuries have certainly affected his quickness and his slashing ability.
Well, Scottie was having a fabulous season up until around the All-Star break, and because of those injuries, his shot has really left him. He has been erratic this last third of the season.
Steve Kerr has come on, and Steve, after having an excellent regular season and earlier play in the playoffs, has been off in the finals. Tony Kukoc with 7 points. Bulls lead 16-10.
And that was a well-executed little play out of the triangle by Chicago, set up by the nice pick by Dennis Rodman.
Payton and McMillan in the backcourt. Kemp, Trent, and Perkins are up front.
So nice to see Michael Jordan up full court, 94 feet, man-to-man defense. Works like Scottie Pippen as hard as anyone on the defensive end. Seattle can't even get it in.
They just did beat the 5 seconds. Nice pass, and Payton blows the layup.
Steve Kerr intimidated him.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter. The Bulls lead by 6. Now Kerr played on the switch. Shoots over Perkins. Kept alive by Jordan.
Rodman really a non-factor in the first quarter here.
Steve Kerr now 5 of 22 shooting in the series. Open shot for Kerr. And again, way off. The save by McMillan. Perkins passed on the shot, and now Payton lays it home.
What a job by Sean Kemp at midcourt handling the basketball. against Michael Jordan. He gave him a little bit of a juke and then set up that fast break play.
Longley is fouled. Longley going from right to left, held by Perkins. Percy Hawkins getting set to check back in.
The decision-making ability of Sam Perkins. A complete player, Perkins can drain that three-pointer, but at the last moment on the shot attempt, dumped it down for the layup.
Well, the Bulls have a mismatch here if they want to go to it. Kukoc against McMillan inside.
That left Schremp replaced by Hersey Hawkins. And Jordan able to get inside. Michael's third field goal, 3 of 5, 6 points, and the Bulls lead 18-12.
George Karl's strategy is to front in the low post. They're not getting good weak side rotation at all. Somebody's got to come hard.
Hersey Hawkins had all day to line up that shot and hit it from downtown to cut it to a 3-point Chicago lead.
All because Sean Kemp leveled Michael Jordan, took him out of the play, couldn't recover.
Jordan with one of his rare outside attempts. And the Sonics had a fast break opportunity.
Well, here's Michael Jordan in the post, and this is what the Bulls had trouble with in Game 4, that little lob pass on the little release, and they did not execute it very well, but Michael Jordan trying to get over the top. Sean Kemp kind of with a hip check.
Scottie Pippen is back. Michael Jordan getting a rest. Michael telling us before the game that the Bulls need a lift from the bench, and they're not getting it. Steve Kerr is still struggling with the shot. We're just under 1 minute to go in this first quarter. Yes, and it counts. Putting the hold on Steve Kerr. And Hawkins will go to the line with a chance to tie the game.
Clearly the best basketball that we've seen during the finals this year. Sonics in transition. Kerr giving it up on the offensive end and then just flailing away Hawkins at the hoop. Lucky to get that foul. Looked like the offensive player initiated contact.
Three-point play for Hawkins, who comes off a strong game on Wednesday. Sonics and Bulls tied at 18. The shot clock is down to 6. Pippen fires for 3. Rebound Rodman. Kept alive by Kukoc. And McMillan came up with it. Payton in the open floor. And he'll pull it back with 15 seconds remaining in the quarter. Game is tied at 18. Kemp shooting over Longley. That was not the shot the Sonics had in mind.
Very poor execution at the end.
And here is Pippen. Couldn't find the shot. But George Karl has to be very pleased with the Sonics coming from behind. This crowd is fired up once again. Sonics in the first quarter with 6 unanswered. And the game is tied at 18. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
This is the NBA on NBC, the 1996 NBA Finals.
Welcome back to Seattle. We're getting set for the start of play in the second quarter. The NBA and NBC Sports have teamed up and created the official website for the NBA Finals at finals.com. Game previews, player bios, video highlights, latest news on these two clubs. Plus, during our broadcast of the Finals, fans around the globe can interact with our very own cybercaster, Steve Snapper Jones. There is Steve online with commentary and answering fan questions during the game. Check it out, the official website of the NBA and NBC Sports at finals.com.
Harv, I cut your act on there the other day. Very nice, very nice. And obviously the NBC dress code does not apply to Snapper on the cyber broadcast. This is too much. They can't find the game ball.
Chicago Chicago's bench coming up with absolutely nothing in that first quarter at either end of the floor, which is going to put that much more pressure on Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, and when Michael Jordan does get back into the ballgame.
Well, Hersey Hawkins scoring the last 6 Seattle points to conclude matters in the first quarter. Randy Brown has checked in for the Bulls as Scottie Pippen opens up the second with his first field goal. It's the Bulls 20 and the Sonics 18. And the game is tied at 20.
Seattle has just taken Steve Kerr apart, and he can't get anything back on the offensive end.
Well, Pippen having the mismatch with Hawkins, and the foul is called. On the subject of Steve Kerr, who had such an excellent season, but slumping in the finals, he says there was a time during his career that he was a bit more physical about his frustration. He'd want to go back to the hotel. There's Kerr. Again, not able to hit. He'd want to punch holes in the wall, but he says he can't do that anymore because we stay in much nicer hotels these days.
The way he's shooting it now, he might miss the wall. He is really thinking too hard out there. You can tell the way he's holding his follow-through. John Paxson, a former Chicago Bull player, now assistant coach and a great outside shooter, was telling Steve at practice yesterday, you've got to get your balance. Get your balance and let it fly. But once that mind takes over, it makes it very difficult to shoot the basketball.
Illegal defense, the call for the second time, and so Hawkins will shoot the technical.
But coming out of that quarter break, Phil Jackson going to 2 post plays for Scottie Pippen. He is not happy with the way Scottie Pippen is shooting the ball from the perimeter. Not only the result, but the type of shots that he's taking, so inside.
Sonics lead by 1. A minute gone by in the second quarter. Jordan, who just returned, coming up with that loose ball. Randy Brown had a very strong game down the stretch, although in a blowout. Pippen again from in close. So Randy Brown earning the early playing time. The other day, very active, a lot of energy, and the coach is pleased with the play of Brown.
Marvin, it was his defensive play that got that ball back for the Bulls.
Won't count. Foul called with Payton driving the lane and blocked off.
I think Phil Jackson's going to go with Randy Brown more than Steve Kerr right now because Kerr just can't get it going. Bulls get a break that foul is actually called. It denied a Sean Kemp slam.
And right now the referee's going to check. I thought Gary Payton shot that basketball as he was bumped by George Karl is out on the floor right now saying that he was fouled when he shot the ball. I think he was.
They want it in the act, which would be a shooting foul, and Karl is very upset. Here's another look at it.
Well, Luke Longley stepping over to try and take a charge here, clearly moving on the play. And since the ball didn't hit the rim or the basket, the officials felt it may have been a pass, but now they are correcting the play, and Gary Payton, a poor free throw shooter at 62% in this series, steps to the line.
Well, Payton has been off from the field, only 1 of 6. And now 1 for 1 from the line. He has 3 points.
But poor is relative. I mean, if Shaq did that, people would be ecstatic.
62% for a point guard is poor.
Sonics lead 23-22. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Longley lost it. Brown was looking for a travel on Longley. Payton going at Brown. Has to throw it out. Hawkins. And Kukoc for the rebound. Hersey Hawkins has had the hot hand. He leads the Sonics with 9. Kemp with 8 points. Quiet start for Jordan. 3 of 6 from the field. 6 points. Shot clock down down to 6. Pippen played very well, blocked by Hawkins. Kukoc just didn't beat the 24. Rebounded by Perkins.
Too slow by Scotty in making that play happen. He's got the mismatch against Hersey Hawkins.
McMillan, yes! Nate McMillan from downtown and then hobbles back to the defensive end.
Barlow's talking to Nate. He said that his contributions had to be more than emotional today. He had to start playing good basketball again. It's very hard to do with that injury.
Traveling violation on Scottie Pippen. A host of travels have been called against Chicago.
Well, when you have a bad back and bad legs, it is so difficult to shoot the ball from the perimeter. But somehow or other, Nate McMillan in the last 2 ball games has been able to get his feet under him and still knock the shot down. He is playing really on so much emotion, so much adrenaline, and feeding off this crowd.
It's the Sonics by 4. We'll be right back.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
Back at Key Arena in Seattle. George Karl and his Sonics with their biggest lead of the game, up by 4 as they have turned it around once again. You see the struggles over the first 3 games when they were trailing 3 games to nothing. And in game 4 with that stirring victory, shooting 56%, a 107-86 win over the Bulls. You saw the numbers change around dramatically, and tonight the Sonics receiving balanced scoring. Hawkins with 9 and Kemp with 8. The Bulls have led by as many as 6, and the Sonics now by 4 with 3.5 gone by in the second quarter. And a reaching foul is called on Steve Kerr.
Well, Steve is trying to make up for some of the problems the season's having at the offensive end by being more aggressive at the defensive end. Although Hersey Hawkins, not known as a one-on-one player, still can take the ball to the basket and excellent using screens.
Left Shrimp. Rebound, Sean Kemp. Rebounded by Luke Longley.
Dennis Rodman continues to be a non-factor.
Scottie Pippen is trying to shoot his way back into it. Michael Jordan, yes, and it counts. And he'll head to the line looking for his 9th point. Hugh Hollins in a discussion with a couple of members of the Sonics and maybe handing out AT.
The technical on Nate McMillan for throwing the ball at Dennis Rodman on a little bit of an exchange underneath. Dennis loves to just get tangled up. Dennis put the ball right in his midsection. I don't want that ball. Again, Dennis Rodman initiating the play, yet the second one so often the one detected.
No question that Dennis instigated that, and then McMillan was the guy who was seen and was called for the technical foul.
Seattle has really improved through this series at learning to ignore Dennis Rodman. They really came to the front in game 4 tonight. That was the first altercation, and now they come right back and tag Dennis.
So the foul on Rodman, his first.
Well, Dennis Rodman always aggressive on the offensive board there. That was a makeup call. That was for pushing the ball in Nate McMillan's stomach, but that was not a foul.
Sonics by 1. Kemp looking to do it off the dribble, then try to backdoor pass, and it's a kick ball. So the Sonics get the reset of the clock, a new 24.
Sean Kemp's playing at a faster speed, and the rest of his teammates, they need to catch up to him.
McMillan for Hawkins. Kemp passing on the 3-point shot.
Thank goodness.
Yes. 3-point lead. The crowd very much back into it. Longley from Jordan. Fouled by Kemp.
Well, Dennis Rodman on the boards at both ends of the floor does such a good job of not necessarily jumping high, but tipping the ball to himself. There he does a good defensive job, but Dennis just trying to tip to himself. But the quicker, stronger Sean Kemp actually pulling a Rodman play on Dennis himself, the save, and getting the deuce for Schrempf.
Dennis does not look sharp. He almost looks old tonight. He is 34, 35.
He has hit the 35 mark, Bill, to be precise, and has not been as active as we usually see.
Well, you would think that after that embarrassing moment of Game 4, that Rodman and Pippen and Jordan would come out with so much energy and so much enthusiasm and spring. We've seen it with Jordan. Pippen's had some good plays. It has not been there from Dennis Rodman tonight.
Sonics 28, Bulls 27. Marv Albert, Matt Lucas, Bill Walton with the bottom of the shot. Hannah Strong working the sideline. Foul is called. Sonics looking for a goaltend. Bob Costas with us. We'll hear from Bob at halftime. In fact, a close-up look at that man, George Karl, as Bob sat down with George, who always has intriguing things to say. Luke Longley is called for his third foul, and Sean Kemp will shoot a couple. Kemp on the line for the first time tonight.
He's been fabulous from the line throughout the playoffs. He has made 13 in a row so far in these finals. And he is so active around the basket, so difficult to defend, and it's a tough decision for Phil Jackson to really take that double team off, because you know you're going to give up points and you know you're going to give up free throws to this man, but what you do is keep other people out of the game and you don't double team.
And so marvelously conditioned as well, as Luke Longley's getting an earful from Phil Jackson. Sean Kemp can play all day like Michael Jordan, and as the strain of the playoffs wears on, he'll continue to shine.
Yes! And it counts. So Michael getting very serious here in the second quarter. Another three-point opportunity. Jordan going to the left hand against McMillan, and then able to hit. Draws the foul. We'll be back in a moment.
Well, Dennis Rodman showing the frustration that he's going through right now with the way he is playing and the way the team is playing at this juncture. But Phil Jackson, who has been so careful to avoid public confrontations with Dennis Rodman, going over there and settling Dennis down. Actually, before that, Michael Jordan had some words with Dennis out on the floor about banging the ball, knocking it away from the referee, saying, hey, just play basketball.
Seattle has come all the way back, and they're playing such good ball right now. Sonic basketball, terrific defense. They need more offense out of guys other than just Kemp. They haven't made a lot of shots tonight, Marv. They've already missed 18 shots in this game. The last three quarters of Game 4, they only missed 17 total.
11 of 29 from the field, 38%. Bulls now 44%. Jordan completing the three-point play, so he has 11. And the game is tied at 30. Some light pressure being shown now by Chicago. Gary Payton is back, handling against Michael Jordan. Payton and Hawkins and McMillan in the three-guard setup, along with Kemp and Schrempf. 6.5 to go in this first half. It is Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Sonics trying to stay alive, hoping to send the series back to Chicago. It won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. And the Bulls, of course, trying to wrap it up here in 5 tonight. Foul was called on Rodman. That is his second. And the Bulls are now over the foul limit. The Sonics have 4 team fouls.
And a delay of game warning on Chicago. They've switched Dennis Rodman now with Longley on the bench. He wasn't getting it done. The next choice. Oh, that's an initiation of contact by the offensive player, Sean Kemp, who was standing right there. The play called, though, on Dennis Rodman.
Well, Dennis Rodman does such a good job of guarding bigger, stronger players. Like a Shaquille O'Neal, I say good job, that's all relative, because he has a good low base and knows how to play post defense. The problem with guarding Kemp is he's quick. and explosive.
Well, Sean Kemp finally misses from the line. Sonics lead 31-30.
Good defense. Hawkins making him bring it back away from Jordan.
Steve Kerr getting the playing time here in the second quarter. Nice feed from Kerr to Kukoc. Tony Kukoc continuing his consistent scoring right throughout the finals. And the Bulls now lead 32-31. Kukoc with 9 points. Payton on the spin. Beautifully done as he brings Jordan off the dribble. And it's the Sonics with a 33-32 lead.
Jordan going for the steal. He's so much taller than Gary. He can just stand up big over the top defensively.
Bulls swinging the ball. Chant of defense from the crowd. Shot clock at 5. Jordan for 3. Over the top of the glass. So the ball goes back to the Sonics.
Well, Gary Payton is the defensive player of the year, but this man, number 23, a pretty fair country defender in his own right this time, got faked out of his shoes as Payton made the strong, hard move to the middle. Michael went for it, and then a terrific spin play by Gary Payton.
The Bulls are now 1 for 9 from three-point range. They have missed their last 8, coming up on 5 minutes remaining. First half, Sonics lead by 1. Payton off the screen. 3 for Payton. Beautiful pick set by Sean Kemp.
And you can just feel the surging confidence of Seattle. Payton takes Jordan in the post one time, now comes back and works the pick and roll, gets the 3. Seattle playing terrific ball.
Shot clock down to 5, and a foul on McMillan. McMillan involved with Pippen is called for a hold. Seattle is now over the foul limit.
Well, Gary Payton was talking about the importance of making Michael Jordan work at the other end of the floor, because you know you got your hands full, and that's what Gary has tried to do. He's starting to feel it right now and appealing to the crowd, and it doesn't take much to get them involved.
Yesterday, Michael Jordan was telling our Jim Gray and Julius Erving that after being taunted somewhat by Gary Payton in games 1 and 2, game 3, Jordan said Payton asked him only one question: "Can I have your shoes?" Jordan said, "No, maybe some other time." Talk about timing. So Nate McMillan headed back to the Sonic locker room. They'll work on Nate. That has been the procedure with the bad back and the hamstring problem, which comes from the back injury. Sonics lead 36-34. 4:25 to go in this first half.
They can swing Perkins into the low post on Scottie Pippen right here. Sean Kemp is working so hard on that offensive glass, the position, the fight. You see him hit low to establish that position, and then these are the two guys that jump the most times for any single ball going head to head. Beautiful.
Pippen for 3. And a foul is called. Now a 3-second violation on the ball.
Chicago just can't even get a clean look from beyond the arc. Every shot is being challenged right now by Seattle.
But that's what Seattle does. They're so good at double teaming the ball, shutting down the initial play, and then closing out on the swing of the ball.
And you see the assist to turnover ratio. Seattle doing a good job. Sean Kemp always in danger. He puts that ball on the floor, but that time a reach-in foul called. It's on Randy Brown.
Actually, Kemp made a nice little ball fake on a cutter on the baseline, which Dennis Rodman honored. He realized he was fooled on the play and tried to get back and take away that hard move to the lane. He took the bump from Kemp and flopped and did not get the call.
Well, Sean Kemp has now missed his last 2 free throws. Here's another look at that last sequence.
But now you're looking at one of the things where Chicago does not have ultimate strength. Guarding a post-up player who can also put the ball on the floor, like a Sean Kemp, like an old Kevin McHale from the Celtic days, like a James Worthy. They can do it with Shaq because they have all those big guys in the centers who come in and just push and shove. They can't use those guys against Sean Kemp.
Sonics by 3. 3.5 remaining in the half. Brown tried the three-pointer. Kemp had the dribble knocked away. Recovered by Payton. Here's Slip. Left. Providing a 5-point Seattle lead. And Chicago calls for time.
Welcome back to Seattle, and here's what's coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report. We'll bring you my conversation with Sonics coach George Karl. He'll talk about his future here in Seattle and about the one job he craves above all. We'll also get a report on round 2 of the U.S. Open played earlier today at Oakland Hills outside Detroit. And we'll look ahead to tomorrow's U.S. Olympic track and field trials. We've got 2 hours of coverage in prime time as Carl Lewis, the 8-time Olympic gold medalist, vies for a spot in the 100 meters. Right now, the Sonics lead the Bulls by 5. Back we go to Marv Albert, Matt Gukas, and Bill Walton. Marv.
Thank you, Bob. An 8-2 run by the Sonics, which has opened up their biggest lead, a 5-point margin. 3:12 remaining in the second quarter. The key, only 2 turnovers thus far for Seattle. Chicago has turned it over 7 times.
And we talked at the end of game 4, Marv, about Chicago having to fight these guys off back from square one. Jordan able to deliver out of the timeout. But this crowd is so wild, so raucous, they will not let their Sonics stop pushing tonight.
Michael Jordan with 13 to lead the Bulls. Sonics 39 and the Bulls 36. Now Kemp being played by Wennington, and he's called for travel. Trying to back his way, and steps called.
Only the 3rd turnover, however, for Seattle. One of the reasons why they've been leading in this ballgame. And also the fact that they just have been quicker than Chicago overall with a loose ball.
And it's tough. Chicago forced to take Dennis Rodman off Sean Kemp down low, having to come with beef in Wennington.
And here is Wennington. David Wingate, who saw playing time in game number 4, made his first appearance. Here's Wingate looking for the 3. Perkins with the rebound, but a foul, loose ball foul is called.
Not a good shot by David Wingate, coming off the bench, ice cold. First time you get your hands on the ball, you got to look to just make a quick pass or a cut. You don't want to be raising up for a 20-foot jump shot in that situation.
Here's Frank Rakowski, who started the game, although he has not played much in this first half. He returns, replacing Sam Perkins, who just collected his 3rd foul.
Marv, it's amazing to me that Seattle's only got Sean Kemp 7 shots. Yeah, they are dumping it down to him a lot. He has taken 6 free throws. Sean Kemp, he's playing so well, so far above everyone else, his teammates. He should be taking at least 15 shots in this first half alone.
Bill Wennington in his 9th season out of St. John's, spent 5 years with Dallas, a year with Sacramento, a couple of years in Italy, signed with the Bulls as a free agent. It's his 4th year with Chicago and has been very effective coming off the bench, particularly in the playoffs.
Well, I thought Hersey Hawkins had a nice little run there at the end of the first quarter to chip in with the scoring, and Gary Payton has since come alive.
Shrimp. Rebounded by Rodman. Jordan behind the back to beat Rakowski. That goes right at Wingate. What a move by Michael Jordan. And he's tied the game at 39.
How about the crowd reaction to that?
Here's Kemp right at Sonics 41 and the Bulls 39. Kemp with 14. Jordan has 15. Wingate guarding Jordan. Off the fake. Rebound, Pippen. Well, Scotty showing the lively legs, but could not convert on the reverse.
Just not the second jump, though, for Scotty, who's, Jordan beaten badly back forward defensively.
Harry Payton got the step on Michael Jordan, and it's the Sonics by 4, coming up on 1 minute remaining in the first half. Jordan now played by Flint, and away from the ball, foul being indicated by Jess Kersey.
Well, on the fly pattern to Michael Jordan on the catch, realizing he had a defender there, able in midair to collect himself, go behind his back, and gather himself and still finish the play. A spectacular Michael Jordan play.
A little bit of everything. You go high to catch the ball, you land, you change direction in midair. 2 or 3 different times. You shoot on the way back down. That guy's pretty darn good.
Once again, the keen observation by Bill. David Wingate picked up the foul, putting Scottie Pippen at the line. So Pippen is now 2 of 3, has only 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist in his 20 minutes of play.
John Sally replacing Bill Weddington. Phil Jackson realizing Weddington cannot handle Kemp inside, and consequently the rest of the Bulls defense always looking to help out. That's why they're leaving openings. Sally the better defender.
Again, the pressure against Payton. First it was Jordan, and then Pippen, and Payton able to handle it. Kowski tried to hit the cutting Payton, but that pass off the ball.
That was a beautiful pass, I thought, though, Marlon. Payton just not ready for it.
And here is Steve Scheffler with an early entrance to give Sean Kemp a rest. The reason we're seeing Scheffler at this point is because Perkins has 3 fouls, and George Karl wanted to get Kemp out of there. Did not want Kemp to pick up a 3rd before the half.
Like good isolation, Scotty should just take him right to the hoop. Tony Kukoc.
Well, Kukoc going at Scheffler, called for travel. Very anxious to set it up in the post-up mode. So the Sonics get it back with a half minute to go in this first half. 22nd timeout taken by Seattle. It's the Sonics by 3, and once again receiving a standing ovation. 22nd timeout has expired. Here are the Bulls moving back onto the floor. Michael Jordan, 7 of 12, 15 points, 9 of his 15 in the second quarter. Sean Kemp sitting down for the final half minute of this first half. He leads Seattle with 14. Gary Payton, after the slow start, coming on with 9 of his 11 in the second quarter.
Good psychological move right now would be to let Gary Payton go right at Jordan, but they can't even get the ball inbound.
Well,
how disappointing.
Rare turnover, though, by the Sonics, who have handled the ball very well in this first half. But the Bulls get it right back, setting up for a final shot of the half. Jordan fires. And the Sonics lead by 1. 10 seconds to go. First half. We are down to 5. Pressure on the ball, slowing up Payton, able to penetrate. And that is the end of the first half. And the Sonics are hearing it from the crowd. The Bulls at one stretch led by 6. Sonics able to come from behind. They have a 1-point lead at the half. Back in a moment with Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report.
Where the Sonics lead the Bulls by 1 going into the second half, and their leading scorer, Sean Kemp, will have to battle a painful injury. At the end of the first half, he took a couple of hard elbows, one from Luke Longley, one from Dennis Rodman. He has suffered a contusion. That's a fancy word for a bruise to his chest. The team doctor, Richard Zorn, told me he's in quite a bit of pain. They did ice the chest to give him some anti-inflammatory medication. They'll see how he responds in the second half. Now let's send it over to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Phil Jackson very calm during the halftime, comfortable with the position that they're in. He wants his team to be more patient on their offense and try to get some backdoor plays because Seattle is overplaying them. He also emphasized the importance of making their free throws. Marv?
All right, thank you, Ahmad. It's a 43-42 Sonics lead. On the subject of Chicago free throws, 11 of 15 from the line in the first half. Kukoc, and he's hit by Shrimp, or perhaps a traveling violation. The outside official, Hugh Hollins, calling the travel as Ed Rush underneath was indicating a foul.
And that was not a smile of joy on the face of Phil Jackson there. He does not like that call. Yes, Tony Kukoc did fumble the ball, but I don't think he moved his feet.
You turn a 3-on-1 fast break into a traveling violation. Ouch, that's an ugly start for Chicago.
Hawkins and Payton open up in the backcourt. A bad shot by Hawkins. Kemp up front with Rakowski and Shrimp. Rolls with Longley at center. Here's Pippen trying a three. Pippen, Jordan, Longley, Kukoc, and Rodman on the floor. And trailing the play, a foul has been called on Rodman. Rodman with a hold. He was reaching out.
Mixed up with deadlift Shrimp there, the outlet. Rodman impedes his progress up the court. Easy play to call. Goes on so many times. Jess Kersey has seen enough.
Shrimp posting Kukoc. Oh, swooping hook by deadlift Shrimp. The Sonics 45 and the Bulls 42. Minute and a half gone by in the third quarter. Longley, yes, Luke Longley with his first field goal. And the Sonics now lead by one. Kemp, yes. And it's Seattle with a three-point advantage. 16 points for Sean Kemp.
Seattle played really solid basketball throughout the first half. Sean Kemp, not enough shots. That's just his 9th for the game. Plus Perkins has 3 fouls. Other than that, beautiful.
Michael Jordan script. Shrimp backing Kukoc. Shot clock at 5. Hawkins gives it back. Hawkins gets it off. And knocked out of bounds by a surgeon, Sean Kemp.
Did you see how high this man was? The shot to beat the shot clock buzzer, and Sean Kemp read it the whole way. Dennis Rodman, Luke Longley not doing anything to keep him off the glass.
Well, Phil Jackson very much concerned with the way Chicago running their offense right now. Wants to get a little bit more patience and better shots.
Kukoc pass on the 3-second violation that was caused by the hesitation by Kukoc.
A moment ago, Sean Kemp over the top of Scottie Pippen, who regularly gets above the rim himself.
Well, 3 turnovers on the Bulls the first 3 minutes of this third quarter. Kukoc got a hand on it, recovered by Payton. Now the shot clock at 5. Payton is fouled by Jordan. Blocking foul, no argument there. And for Michael, his second.
Well, a couple plays before the Sonics going inside to Shrimp against Kukoc. This time, Tony did a much better job to stop that. But now with the shot clock winding down, Payton trying to create, and Michael picking up the foul.
Seattle should come right back to Gary Payton. He just draws a foul. Double foul away from the ball. Rakowski and Rodman uncalled for.
Well, something here beginning to brew. They were quiet earlier, but Rakowski and Rodman getting involved.
Well, Dennis puts his chin and face right under the forearm of Rakowski, and Rakowski trying to create some space for himself can do nothing but hit Dennis Rodman. a fourth on Dennis, and that spells problems, big problems for Chicago.
Well, suddenly the Bulls are facing a difficult situation. You have 4 on Rodman, who is apparently drew blood, and that's what he is complaining about. You have Ron Harper, who is hurt because of the aching knees, has seen limited action. You have a situation with Scottie Pippen obviously hurting, and he is off his game. And the Sonics have a 3-point lead as they look to come back into the series, hoping to send it to Chicago for a 6th game Sunday. Finding Hawkins, the Sonics with a 49-44 lead.
Kemp one time with the pass, Gary Payton with the taking of Michael Jordan. Sonics playing their game.
And here is Jordan, too strong. Rebound Smith. Kemp ahead of the field, and he is fouled by Pippen. And Kemp hits the floor.
And right after that play, as Rodman came in, gave a little extra bump to Gary Payton, who objected to that, got right up into Dennis Rodman and re-bumped him. The Sonics are so much better when they are just playing free and loose and reacting to whatever the situation is rather than set stuff. Pippen just trying to stop the easy lay-in. And then right after this, Rodman and Payton right in each other's chest.
The Sonics have outscored the Bulls 9-2 in this third quarter, and we may have reached the point where the Bulls need Michael Jordan to try and take over. They are down by 6. 8:02 to go in the third. We'll be right back.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Castrol Syntec Blend, added protection for severe driving conditions. And by Miller Lite, with a great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good.
Welcome back to Seattle. 4 minutes gone by in the third quarter. The Sonics now lead by 6. Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah?
Marv, a few moments ago I told you about the elbows that Sean Kemp took to the sternum. It is still very sore. Trainer Frank Ricardo told me that Sean is going to have to continue to keep an ice pack on that chest to try to numb that injury for the remainder of the game, but he certainly appears to be playing just fine. Marv?
Yes, he does. Look at the stat line. 6 of 9 from the field, 5 of 7 from the line. He had hit 15 straight free throws at one stretch. 5 rebounds, 17 points in all for the 4-time All-Star in his 7th NBA season. Sean Kemp, who has come such a long way during the course of the playoffs. In terms of perception, how I'm sure he's being received around the country.
Well, he's turned his incredible physical capabilities into impact, control of the game. He's playing with discipline, not trying to do anything wild out of his repertoire, but you can just see how this whole thing has turned around. Seattle's coming out. They're anxious to get back out on the court. In Chicago, they're walking around with very long faces right now.
Foul on Trent, and the Bulls will get a new 24. It is a 7-point Sonic lead. It represents their biggest lead of the game. They double up on Kukoc. Pippen. Scottie Pippen. Nice move. Passing on the outside shot and going to the drive.
During that last time out, Phil Jackson spent about 95% of it just talking with his assistant coaches away from the team. I think he wanted the players themselves to start to get together and figure this thing out for themselves.
This is not so much about strategy and X's and O's for Chicago. They're just being out-hustled at this point.
Here's Pippen. Not able to find the range, but Rodman able to keep it alive. Pippen is now 3 of 9 from the field. Jordan off the screen. That was a 3-point attempt, and he was fouled. He will go to the line. Although Jess Kersey and Hugh Hollins involved in a discussion, and it is called a shooting foul. That was the point of the discussion. Foul on Payton, his second.
I think part of the discussion was here is that maybe Luke Longley or somebody else got fouled on the screen in that situation, but clearly Michael got ticked on the shot attempt.
But why foul him? Chicago's 1 for 11 from behind the three-point line tonight. Make him make one before you start jumping at him. Never foul jump shooters.
So Michael Jordan with 3 free throws. He has 18 points in all. He's coming off the 6 of 19 the other night. Chicago Bulls fans like to point to the 1993 conference finals against the Knicks. Jordan 3 of 18 from the field in game 3. And then in game 4 came back with 54 points on 18 of 30 from the field.
That's called a facial statement.
Yes. Sonics lead 51-49. Kemp on the recovery. Hawkins keeping it alive. He's called for a violation.
A good defensive sequence on that trip by Chicago, mainly because Jordan applied the pressure on Payton, made him lose a lot of time, and by the time Shawn Kemp got the ball, the defense of Chicago was set, forced a tough shot.
And Rodman just cannot get into the rhythm of this game.
Foul committed by Bukowski. Sure, Frank also appreciated the encouraging pat from his good friend Dennis Rodman. Bukowski called for his 3rd.
Even though Bukowski has 0 points, he's made a very positive contribution for Seattle tonight.
3 team fouls apiece. Now the matchup is Kemp with Rodman. And a foul. It is on Hawkins.
Well, for some reason, Shawn Kemp switching over to Dennis Rodman for this particular play, and then a hard pop right into the chest of Dennis Rodman, and one of the rare times that Dennis did not flop. He actually got hit.
Well, there was a foul away from that situation called on Hawkins. Kukoc trying to get it to Rodman. Kukoc with the recovery. And he has tied the game at 51. And a technical foul has been called. Apparently a delay of game, which was their second, and that is a technical foul. And Michael Jordan was very upset with Dennis Rodman. A second delay of game, which means an automatic tee, and Hersey Hawkins will shoot it.
It's amazing that Chicago is even back in this game. Now just trailing by 1. Nobody is playing very well. Dennis Rodman can't control this ball. Kukoc will finally stick it back in. And then Rodman throws the ball. Just let it go.
And you see Michael's reaction, upset with what he felt was just unnecessary. Kemp with a crossover. And Rush looking for help as to who deflected it out of bounds. Last touch by the Bulls.
Good job by Michael Jordan to get a hand in there and knock it loose. When Shawn Kemp does drop that ball below his waist in any situation, he becomes very careless with it.
11 on the shot clock. And it's a 5-second violation. Payton did not get inbounds in time.
Marv, sitting here watching Shawn Kemp is so much fun tonight because he is just doing everything. He is dribbling between his legs, creating plays, dictating the flow. Magnificent, beautiful performance.
Nice move by Jordan. Michael again taking it to the hoop. And he's been going to the drive more frequently than throughout the playoffs and the regular season. Very few jump shots from Michael Jordan. 9-1 run by the Bulls. Kemp, that won't count. He was fouled before the shot attack.
Oh, Michael Jordan with a bent on getting to the basket with that quick, hard move, and stumbled a little bit here as he gathered, just shuffling his feet to get away from some defenders and get that shot off. We've seen a lot of walking calls tonight, but not on this occasion. As Michael able to escape the defense, get into the lane, and put it up softly.
A reminder, tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, NBC Sports will continue its coverage of the 96th U.S. Open. The current leader, Payne Stewart, 2 under par. He'll be trying to hold on to his 1-stroke lead over the rest of the field. Greg Norman with a 66 tied for second place at 1 under. How will Greg handle it the rest of the way? The 96th U.S. Open from Oakland Hills Country Club tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the West, right here on NBC. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. During that timeout, Phil Jackson telling his team just to maintain their poise. The one thing he didn't want to happen is let the game run away from them right now. Just continue keeping their poise. They're in good shape. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Bulls with a 1-point lead with 5:05 remaining in this third quarter. 3-second violation called, and the Bulls will get it right back.
That was on Sean Kemp. Marv, sometimes Sean has a tendency to set up too low, close to that baseline, doesn't give himself room to turn and get a good angle bank shot.
Nick McMillan is back on the floor for the Sonics. Bill Wennington is in, replacing Luke Longley, who left after picking up a 4th foul. Nice turnaround jump shot. Wennington with his first field goal, and the Bulls now lead by 3.
Set up by a beautiful fake on the hard cut by Jordan. The defense all looked at Michael, left Wennington all alone.
Perkins, who's been quiet, fouled by Pippen. He was blocked out. That jump shot by Wennington, the first field goal off the bench for the Chicago Bulls.
And a big reason why the bench having so many problems is because Tony Kukoc, a starter, because of the ineffectiveness or really inability of Ron Harper to give them any kind of minutes at all. So your best producer, Kukoc, having to start, and the bench just not able to get much production at all.
And it doesn't look like Harper's going to be much of a factor the rest of the way. I mean, he is so tough. He's got that impingement syndrome in the good knee, the one that was not surgically reconstructed. Is the bench scoring not much from either squad. Time to go with the big guns.
Ron Harper, a very important player for the Bulls right throughout this playoff run, in particular from the defensive end, and also was able to contribute offensively. Bulls lead by 1. 11-3 run by Chicago. Good pressure by McMillan. Shot clock at 6.
The Seattle defense, that's what we've seen all year long. 64 victories in the tough Western Conference, 10th best record of all time. They're pushing, they're swarming, forcing Chicago into careless turnovers.
This is about as animated on the court in public view we've seen the Chicago Bulls, showing the concern. Players talking to each other, screaming at each other. Here is Schlepp. Yes! Three-pointer for Daniel Schlepp. And it's the Sonics 57, the Bulls 55. 3:40 to go. Third quarter. Pippen had it knocked away by McMillan. It will be Chicago ball.
Even when Nate McMillan isn't doing anything, just his presence on the floor picks up the other 4 players. They get more aggressive defensively. They're more confident at the offensive end. And oh, what it does to this crowd. They get unbelievably loud.
Nate McMillan hobbling back to the top of the key, and he is hearing it from the crowd once again. Steve Kerr back on the floor for Chicago. Good hands by Schlepp.
Good time for Chicago to clear aside for Michael Jordan. Let him, the great player, the MVP, the reason why the Bulls are here, let him get the Sonic fans back in their seats.
Well, the acoustics here at the Key Arena are excellent. Just how loud is it? Went up to 103 on the decibel level chart. We're just discussing the on on-court animation by the Bulls. We've seen Pippen get involved. We've seen Jordan, of course, Phil Jackson on the bench on several occasions. Looks like we're watching the New York Knicks, who usually show it all on the court, but it's very rare to see the Bulls react in this manner. Shot clock is down to 5. Pippen is rejected. They double up on Kemp. Perkins for the scoop. Yes, but will not count. The foul before the shot attack.
Marv, it's time for Scotty and Michael Jordan to stop pointing at their teammates. Scotty's got 9 points. Michael Jordan 22, which is very good in this extremely low-scoring game. But hey, you win with your star players playing great. Very difficult to win on the road. They got to show better leadership and build guys up rather than tearing them down, which they're doing right now.
Foul committed by Scottie Pippen. That's 4 on Pippen and Rodman. Sam Perkins extending to a 3-point Sonic lead. Here's Tony Kukoc back, replacing Bill Wennington. So the Bulls now have Kukoc, Rodman, and Pippen up front with Jordan and Kerr in the backcourt.
And Scottie Pippen looks like he just does not have the strength in his legs or the quickness, because he is unable to go by Detlef Schrempf right now, who is not that strong an individual defender.
They are on their feet at Key Arena, ready for the defense. Jordan battling against Payton, finding Kerr for 3. Now it's called a 2. He had the foot on the line. So Steve Kerr, after missing his first 3 shots, is able to score. That's his first field goal. Sonics 59 and the Bulls 57. Payton with the room. 13 for Payton, and the Sonics lead 61-57.
Marv, you just see the quickness, the push. Payton playing free basketball right now, no thought process.
Jordan with the roll. Yes! Michael Jordan with 24. Sonics 61 and the Bulls 59. We come up on 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
2 minutes.
Shot clock at 5. Payton for 3. Air ball handled by Rodman. Oh, look out. That pass thrown behind Jordan, saved by Kerr. And here is Jordan. Schrempf. Kemp. Called. Let's see. Called for the charge, and that is his first foul.
And a risky play that time by Dennis Rodman, playing with 4 personal fouls. Really had to get the feet over there very quickly. And the big question is there, did he have him there? I don't think so. He got a break. He got a break.
You think that's a defensive foul? Chuck it right over it.
Non-call.
That's an offensive foul all the way.
Jordan. Pippen. Kukoc shooting. And left front to the boards. We come up on 1 minute remaining in the third. Sonics with the ball and a 2-point lead. Perkins going at Kukoc and foul.
Seattle is the quicker, the hungrier, the fresher, the younger team right now. Chicago standing around, their uniforms are drooping, their faces are long and sad.
A drooping uniform.
You know, I hate drooping uniforms. I hate to see the problem.
But it's just nice to see Seattle finally playing the basketball that they've played most of the season.
pro basketball, so much of it is finding matchups that you can exploit. And right now, the Sonics are doing a better job of zeroing in on Tony Kukoc, whether it's Detlef Schrempf on the post, that time Sam Perkins. Tony has a difficult time guarding people inside. Michael Jordan will get a breather here as we wind down at the end of the third quarter. But at the other end of the floor, with Pippen ineffective, Tony Kukoc has to make plays for himself and for his teammates.
Judd Bushler makes his first appearance of the game. The Bulls with 3 players were collected 4 fouls. Rodman, Pippen, and Longley. And Rodman and Pippen are still on the court. 40 seconds to go in this third quarter. Rodman is playing the high post.
No need to foul him, Sean Kemp.
Here's Pippen with the shot clock running down, firing up from three-point range. 25 seconds to go. Third quarter. Sonics have a 3-point lead. Perkins going at Bushler. Rebounded by Rodman. Nice box out for his 10th rebound.
Not a good play by Sam Perkins. Sort of wound the clock down and got the last shot.
Final seconds of the third. Here's Kerr off the dribble. And he was fouled up high. So Steve Kerr trying to set it up with 4 8/10 seconds remaining was fouled by Nate McMillan, and Kerr to the free throw line. Michael Jordan sitting it out. 24 points for Jordan. Look at the foul one down, as we said, 4 apiece on Longley, Rodman, and Pippen.
And Mark, these 2 free throws by Steve Kerr give Michael Jordan an extra 30 seconds, 45 seconds of rest. Phil Jackson's not going to leave that man, the MVP, on the bench very long.
John Sally, Randy Brown check in for the final seconds of the third quarter. 2 points, Seattle leads. Steve Kerr, one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA. 2 for 2 at the line tonight. Off the scramble, Rodman pops it up. Sally, couple of air balls to conclude matters in this third quarter. After 3 at Key Arena. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Sonics desperately trying to stay alive. Move this series to Chicago for a 6th game. It's the Sonics by 2. Back after this from your local station.
The Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
To the fourth quarter in Seattle. Another disappointing game for Scottie Pippen, who obviously is playing hurt and has been playing hurt for a good portion of the season, the end of the season and on to the playoffs. Says his ankles are bothering him. Scottie saying your shot comes from your base. I haven't felt physically the way I did early in the year. I'm not looking for excuses. Gary Krause, the vice president of basketball operation for the Bulls, made the statement the other day that he'd love to see Scottie take off and rest after the season. He's a member of the Dream Team in the Olympic Games, but the indication is that Scottie Pippen will take just a brief rest and then join the Dream Team in their training camp. Here's Kemp opening up the fourth quarter. He has 20 points, and it's the Sonics with a 64-60 lead. Correction in the foul department. The official score now telling us that Pippen does not have 4 fouls. He has 3. 4 apiece on Longley and Rodman. George Bushler trying to line drive it, but came up short. Perkins got the step, came up short, but on the back tap, handled by Payton, and they get the new shot clock.
No one for Chicago has been a factor on the defensive boards. Rodman on the bench right now, ineffective throughout. Longley has not been sweeping anything. Scottie, normally a terrific defensive rebounder, just not there for Chicago tonight.
Hawkins, eluding Kerr. Steve Kerr gambled. As a result, an open 3 for Percy Hawkins.
I'm really surprised at this Chicago lineup right now, struggling as they have all evening with both Jordan and Kukoc on the bench right now, and Scottie Pippen really not effective.
7-point Seattle lead. Longley getting good position on the post, and then had it knocked away. And a foul call. This with 3 on the shot clock. Foul committed by Nate McMillan.
And Seattle's not going to have to rest Sean Kemp or Gary Payton. Their stars are going to be able to play the whole rest of the game. Seattle only took 12 shots in that third quarter. That's amazing. Kemp got 3 of them and came out the fourth right away.
Oh, Longley with the pick on Hawkins. Bushel just went down, getting involved with McMillan. And a foul is called on Kemp. That is number 4.
Well, one of the things you don't want to see your team is get into early foul trouble in the quarter where you get into the penalty and send your opponent to the free throw line. Hannah Storm was telling us during that quarter break, George Carr wants his team to get out and run and play recklessly.
That was the second team foul on the Sonics. The Bulls have missed their last 6 shots. Pippen from 3, way off, and recovered by McMillan. The Bulls have missed their last 14 from 3-point range. Payton. Nice play by Pippen to knock it away. 3 on 2. Longley from Kerr. Yes, and it counts. Luke Longley off the lead pass from Steve Kerr, and Longley to the line.
All set up by that great block by Scottie Pippen, and Steve Kerr, who normally doesn't handle in the middle on fast break situations, looked a little tentative there for a second, but bailed out nicely by Longley, who filled that lane right up the gut.
Phil Jackson, a lot of patience, a lot of confidence, keeping Jordan on the bench right here.
Well, he is obviously looking for a big finish with Jordan and Kukoc sitting down the first 2.5 minutes of this fourth quarter. Foul is called. It is on Randy Brown. And a timeout taken. 9:49 remaining, fourth quarter. The Sonics 67, the Bulls 63.
Miller, where great taste runs in the family, brings you Miller Moments.
Tonight's Miller Moment reminds us that very few leads are safe. Just ask Michael Jordan. Blazers versus Bulls. Game 6, the 92 finals. Portland building a 15-point lead, entering the fourth quarter, but with Jordan watching from the bench, it was the Bulls reserves, led by Bobby Hansen, who sparked a stirring comeback. And when Michael re-entered the game, it was his clutch baskets king, the come-from-behind effort as the Bulls went on to win their second consecutive NBA championship. In recognition of that moment, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Bulls outscoring the Blazers 33-14 in the fourth quarter. And Jordan was named the MVP of the finals. Michael is back on the court. Sean Kemp continuing the touch. He has 22 points. The Sonics lead 69-63 with 9:25 to go in the fourth quarter.
Well up the lane that time for Sean Kemp. That'll be the key for Seattle the rest of the way.
So Michael Jordan back on the floor and hits on his first attempt. 26 for Jordan. 69-65 Seattle. They double up on Kemp. Pippen over to help, and a foul is called. It's a holding foul. And that now is number 4 on Pippen.
Seattle has to keep pounding it inside. Sean Kemp is playing a masterful game tonight. Getting the ball early in the shot clock so we can do more than just be a shooter as Payton draws the block.
Percy Hawkins and Luke Longley had some words, and Hawkins pulled aside by Schwepp. Rodman has been called for the foul. That is his 5th.
Gary Payton is so effective in getting into the lane, penetrating, and Dennis Rodman got away with shuffling his feet earlier in that third quarter and got away with a foul called on Sean Kemp. This time he steps inside to draw the foul, and then Sean Kemp right in the face of Luke Longley. And nothing called?
What is that all about? Wow. Sean Kemp's been above stuff like that virtually this entire series.
Gary Payton extends to a 70-65 lead. Dennis Rodman sitting down after picking up number 5. Sonics by 6, just under 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Bill Jackson staying with Randy Brown, handling the ball. Jordan changed his mind, and a foul is called. They collapsed, they doubled up on Jordan. He was forced to give up the ball. He couldn't find anyone. In fact, he's upset about that.
But Chicago's spacing looks so bad right now. They're all standing around, waiting, watching Michael. Nobody's attacking. Scotty's game is non-existent. Kukoc has been passive.
Foul's called on Payton, his third. Longley, yes. Luke Longley, 3 for 3 from the field. He has 10 points in all. Sonics lead 71-67. Kemp whips it out. Hawkins returning to Kemp. And here comes Brown with Trent back. He goes around him. And then the hook is off the mark. Rebound Pippen. Scottie Pippen. Very alert. The Sonics seem to be standing around.
Well, Sean Kemp got caught after he missed that shot up in the fans and the television cameras on the sideline. He's holding that right hand.
Sonics by 2. Kemp with the spin. Stripped by Jordan. Michael Jordan knocking it away from Sean Kemp. Pippen for 3. Pippen on the rebound. Pippen rebounded by Kemp. Scottie Pippen is now 4 for 15. Here's Payton challenging Jordan. And Pippen to the ball. Wild end-to-end basketball here in the fourth quarter. 7:20 remaining. The Sonics holding on to a 2-point lead. Longley. And Perkins came up with it.
And Michael Jordan furious and frustrated at the kind of play that Luke Longley just tried to make there. Just everybody standing around, though. The Triangle offense is stopped dead.
And a foul, a reach-in is called. It is on Jordan.
And with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, both teams now with 4 team fouls. This will be a foul shooting contest down the stretch.
Timeout called. Sonics 71, Bulls 69. And on the subject of Wimbledon, congratulations to NBC's Chris Gebert and her husband Andy Mill, who are celebrating the birth of their third child, Colton Jack, entering the world earlier today. Our best wishes to Chris and Andy. 71-69, Seattle with the lead. 5 minutes in fourth quarter. Let's go to Hannah Storm.
Marv, in the first half, Sean Kemp battling cramps in the hamstring, then a bruised sternum. Now he has a cut on his right hand. Bill mentioned that he was holding his hand. It is a little bit sore, but they have stopped the bleeding so that he is able to get back into this game. But certainly is Sean Kemp playing through a variety of injuries in this one, Marv.
All right, Hannah, for the record, no team in any 7-game playoff series has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit to win it. 5 teams have responded to pull even, but none ever won the finale. There have been 9 finals that have gone 3-0. 6 of them have finished with sweeps. Schrempf fouled by Kukoc. Chicago winning the first 3 in this series. Seattle coming back with the convincing victory in Game 4 on Wednesday. And the Sonics hoping to hold on here to force a Game 6 back in Chicago on Sunday night. Deadlift Schrempf to the line as Tony Kukoc picked up his second foul.
Well, every time the Sonics have had a chance to go at somebody, the man they have picked is Tony Kukoc because he has problems moving his feet against a quicker player like Schrempf. And Schrempf just beat him with a hard spin to the dribble. And that's just the problem of getting into the penalty so early in the quarter.
But give credit to the Sonic players for having the discipline to get to their post-up offense with Kemp, with Schrempf. Jordan has been a non-factor. Only 6 shot attempts in the entire second half. 1 in this quarter.
Oh, Sean Kemp nearly picked it off. And that would have been an interesting finish.
He doesn't look tired at all to me. This guy continues to be up in the passing lane.
And Scottie Pippen furious with Kukoc for not coming out hard to meet the pass. Everybody's got to pick up
downtown. They've missed their last 16 from three-point range. Schrempf working on Kuko.
That's the Detlef Schrempf from Houston, destroying Robert Horry.
13 for Schrempf. Sonics by 6. Pippen for 3. Again, too strong. Payton on a 3-on-2 for Schrempf, who pulled it back. Hawkins. Well, that's not the 3-on-2 you're looking to run. As they settle for the corner jump shot. Jordan, triple team. Kerr from downtown. Can't find the ring.
Oh, careless pass by Scotty. He had the Steve Kerr, who has struggled with his shot, standing there wide open, but the low pass around the ankles.
Payton posting Kerr. Yes. The Sonics on a tear. The Bulls will talk it over. Better than 17,000 at the Key Arena. Enjoying this fourth quarter. Remember, the Sonics 38-3 at home during the regular season. Only the Bulls were better at 39 up, 2 down.
But right now, with Chicago getting hammered, you got to wonder if that big push during all season and playing so brilliantly to earn their distinction as one of the greatest teams of all time, if that took too big of a toll, because right now the Bulls are a battered team and Seattle is playing terrific ball.
Michael Jordan has attempted only one shot in this fourth quarter. Kuko again comes up short, and it's Schrempf on the ball. Just under 5 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Sonics lead 77-69.
Play up-tempo, a little crazy, a little wild, anything but cautious.
9-0 run by the Sonics. Dennis Rodman back on the floor playing with 5 fouls. Long leash pass deflected out. Last touch by Seattle with 9 on the 24.
Mark, this is exactly what Seattle needs as they go and look at Game 6 on Sunday. They're getting back, they got their confidence. They truly believe now.
Jordan for 3. Payton has Hawkins. Jordan trailing. Hawkins extending for an 82-69 lead. And again, Phil Jackson calls for time.
Gary Payton feeling it. Nobody guard him. Everybody backing off. Not afraid at all to launch the 3. And that has been the big difference in this game. The Sonics have made their threes. The Bulls have not. And an attempted three-point shot by Jordan. The release by Hawkins. And the Sonics are running away from Chicago.
A wild scene here in Seattle. The Sonics with 11 unanswered points. They've taken an 82-69 lead on the Bulls. 4:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. George Karl earlier receiving a surprise visit from his 90-year-old dad. Joe Karl just 2 days before Father's Day, an emotional scene prior to the game. Up short, and Payton is on the rebound. And the Bulls, incredibly, have missed 20 straight from three-point range. 20 in a row. 1 for 21 overall. Payton forced it. And Longley off the board. Pippen putting a move on Schrempf. Rebound Tip by Dennis Rodman.
And Scottie Pippen just does not have any explosiveness in his legs to finish a driving shot to the basket. And he is just playing with frustration at his teammates, at the officials, and looks like a defeated player right now.
Light pressure shown by the Bulls. But Michael Jordan, very quiet. 26 points in all, and has not looked to take charge in the fourth quarter. Now 1 of 2 from the field in the fourth. Perkins. And to Percy Hawkins getting a piece of it. Sonics 84 and the Bulls 71.
You have to start wondering what the short turnaround is going to mean. Seattle, of course, is going to come in full of energy.
Oh, Scottie Pippen hitting a three, and he thought he was fouled. Having words with Jess Kersey, thought he was hit on the arm. So after missing 20 straight, Pippen able to hit from downtown. The Bulls have missed 20 straight, and of course Pippen has been struggling from three-point territory. Kent with the shot clock running down. 2:35 to go in the fourth quarter. 10-point Seattle lead. And again on their feet as Chicago comes to the offensive end. Here's a three by Kerr. Now remember, Chicago came from 13 down with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to play in Game 3 of the series against the New York Knicks. It forced an overtime. As it turned out, the Knicks were able to win in overtime for the only win of that series as the Bulls went on to take it in 5 games.
Well, Pippen's three was almost lucky because he got hit on the play that time. Chicago did a good job of moving the ball around and making the defense work to get that open look in rhythm.
Coming up on 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, Jordan locked it away, looking for the steal. Seattle with 10 on the shot clock. 7-point Sonic lead. Net left, Trent off the mark, and a loose ball foul on Shrimp. Now both teams are over the foul limit. So the Bulls to the line, and they can cut it to a 5-point deficit.
But Marv, the Bulls haven't played really good basketball tonight. This is, for them to come back at this point would be truly remarkable, because Seattle has dominated most of this game.
Luke Longley 4 of 5 from the foul line. Longley a 78% free throw shooter during the regular season.
Well, Chicago, after made free throws, like to put on tough backcourt pressure. What the Seattle club has done the last couple of ball games is attack that pressure. This is a very tough situation right now because Seattle has lost their tempo and rhythm at the offensive end.
Bulls are 16 of 22 at the line. Rodman sitting down. So Longley hits on 1 of 2. Sonics 84. The Bulls 78. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the fourth. I would not think Sean Kemp is the man you want handling the ball in the backcourt, but he's able to get it ahead. Hawkins. Shrimp with a good play to tip it aside to maintain possession.
Scottie just couldn't get that one rebound that Chicago desperately needed.
And the Sonics wisely playing the clock. Minute and a half remaining in the fourth, taking time off the 24. Shot clock at 6. Down to 4. Here is Kemp. Air ball handled by Pippen. 6-point Seattle lead. 1:15 to go. Kerr for 3. Kemp on the rebound as Pippen was sent flying.
Why don't they ever look for Michael Jordan?
Foul is called. John Brown. Well, Phil, you get the idea that Michael is not looking from an offensive mode in this fourth quarter.
But you got to set him up. Somebody run a dribble handoff for him. You can't just let him do everything by himself. 2 points in the fourth. Very few shot attempts down the stretch. His teammates have to help him get off.
Payton is 4 of 5 at the line. Timeout is taken. 1:04 to go in the fourth quarter. Well, Seattle leads Chicago 84-78. When we resume, Gary Payton will be back at the line for one more shot. 1:04 to go in this fourth quarter. If the Bulls can pull off a dramatic come-from-behind effort, we'll have full post-game coverage, including the presentation of a championship trophy and extensive interviews. Now, if Seattle holds on and wins, full post-game coverage available once again on CNBC on your cable system. And either way, don't forget, following our broadcast, it's your late local news. And then the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And Jay's special guest will be John Voight. So Gary Payton back to the line, although he has struggled at the line in the finals. 75% free throw shooter during the regular season. The Sonics led by as many as 13 with 3:11 remaining. They were up 84-71, so the Bulls are now within 6 points. Seattle only 1 for its last 7 from the field.
And no matter what Michael Jordan has done in the fourth quarter, second half, missing shots, the ball has to get in his hands. He has to be the playmaker for himself or somebody else at this point.
Jordan, played by Hawkins. Jordan from 3. And Perkins to the rebound. 50 seconds remaining. Kemp facing pressure. Finds Hawkins, and he's fouled by Kukoc.
Seattle doing a very good job of coming back to the ball. In this situation, forget all strategy other than come to the ball. Once you get it, move it quickly to the next guy. Don't even give him a chance to let him foul you.
Well, if you're George Karl, your heart is in your throat with Sean Kemp handling the basketball, but he has shown a lot of poise and made the right decision. But you got to wonder, why doesn't Gary Payton get the ball? He is the point guard. He is the man that has to make the decisions for Seattle down the stretch.
Percy Hawkins, 4 for 4 at the line. One of the better free throw shooters in the NBA, 87% for the season. 45 and 3/10 seconds to go. Fourth quarter. Hawkins very calmly hitting the 2 shots. Sonics 87, the Bulls 78. Kukoc finds the baseline. Jordan straight away for 3. And a timeout called by Rodman. Was he able to call for the timeout as he was flying into the Seattle bench? Let's see. Yes, the indication from Jess Kersey is that he did successfully call for time. Down to 26 and 9/10 seconds to go. Fourth quarter. Sonics up 87-78. We'll be back after this and a word from your local station. Back in Seattle, Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, and Bill Walton. Again, not an impact game for Michael Jordan. 11 of 22, 26 points, only 3 of 9 in the second half. Chicago just used its final timeout, and the Bulls facing the prospect of losing 2 straight games for only the second time this season. Late in the season, they lost on the road at Denver and at Phoenix. 26 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Pippen forcing, rebounded by Sean Kemp. And the Seattle Supersonics taking the series back to the United Center in Chicago. Foul on Kerr, 16 and 4/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. As Gary Payton heads back to the line, and this series heads back to the Windy City with a 3-2 lead for the Bulls. In fact, George Karl now enters the bench. Here comes Steve Strickland, David Windley, and Eric Snow. And again, a standing ovation for the Sonics, who have to feel mighty good about themselves once again as they're able to bounce back in the playoffs after the first round eliminations the first 2 years. the last 2 years, I should say, and they come back from 3-0 to get back into this series.
A lot of people thought that they might just be happy to avoid being swept and then cave in. No such thing.
Final seconds. Kukoc tees it up for 3. Rebounded by Payton, and that will do it. Well, the final home appearance for the Sonics, and you'd think they've won the championship, but there are games to follow. A Game 6 in Chicago on Sunday, and perhaps even a Game 7. The Sonics with an 89-78 win over the Bulls. And the Sonics out saluting their fans. The Sonics remaining on the court to salute their fans who have shown great support right throughout. See players waving to fans around Key Arena. All right, let's go to Jim Gray, who has Gary Payton alongside. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Marv. I'm here with Gary Payton. Gary, the confetti coming down right now. Tell me your feelings and your thoughts, this ovation from this crowd. A lot of people thought you would pack it in and that just one game was going to be enough for you guys.
Well, no, that's not us. I like this team. That's why this team is so got a lot of heart. We know that we don't want them to celebrate on our court, so they got to go back in Chicago and do all that. The fans have been great for us, and we just love them for this.
Gary, did it look as though in the second half that the Chicago Bulls were a tired, older team?
Well, we knew that they were getting a little bit tired, and we had to keep the pressure on them and keep running at them. We have to do that, and they did look a little tired, so we just kept the pressure on.
What has changed so much in these last 2 games than from the first 3 games?
I think we're playing better defense, we're shooting the ball a lot better, and we're not turning the ball over as much.
Now you go back to Chicago. What are you going to have to do to win a game in the United Center?
It's hard to win there, but I think if we play the way we played in Game 4 and Game 5, I think we'll be all right.
Have you been more successful since you stopped talking to Michael Jordan after Game 2?
No, I think I just came here and I got my feel. Coming home and getting your feel. I think in the first 2 games in Chicago, I didn't have a feel for the game, but now I got the feel for the game and I'm feeling a little bit better.
Gary, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, now let's go across the way to Hannah Storm with George Karl and Hersey Hawkins. Hannah?
All right, Hersey, you've shown that you can beat these guys both ways in a high-scoring game and a defensive battle. How did you hold them to 78 points?
I think the defense was solid for 48 minutes tonight. We were determined. We played too doggone hard at home to let somebody come celebrate on our floor. And, now we got what we wanted. Back to Chicago, we'll take our chances.
How do you translate this success to Chicago? No team has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. How do you go there and win Game 6?
Hey, everybody's counted us out all year long. I mean, our team has shown class. We've shown pride. We've shown that we have a big heart. Now it's going to be tested Sunday afternoon in Chicago. And whenever we've been tested, we've stepped up and played well. So we're anticipating a great game out of our guys.
Speaking of big heart, we do not have Sean Kemp here because he had to go back to the locker room immediately and ice that bruised sternum. Can you talk about how he came up big today despite a really painful injury?
Oh, Sean has had a great series. I don't think they have anybody on their team that can guard him. Our game plan, get it to him on the post, let him operate. And if they double team him, we'll make decisions on the perimeter. But, what can you say about the guy? He stepped up his game. Now he's a superstar.
All right, thanks, Hersey, for joining us. We'll see you in Chicago. George, the day started out with you getting a surprise visit from your dad here on Father's Day weekend, and I guess you couldn't have asked for a better ending.
Well, it was very emotional. I've asked my dad to come to a lot of games, and he just has never felt healthy enough to come, and my sister brought him, and it was very emotional for me, Father's Day being on Sunday, and he's a big part of my life. He's a big foundation of what I believe in and what I think, and it was really wonderful.
I know another thing that you believe in greatly is this team, and certainly they were locked in a defensive battle down the stretch here. Was it your post-ups that really started working for you there in the fourth quarter?
I just thought tonight a lot of our guys played like men and had to play like men. Chicago's a great championship team, but tonight I thought we played them, and we played them the way we have to play them. I just wish it would have gotten some more confidence earlier in the season, the series.
Yeah, earlier in the series, the first 3 games, you guys were not able to play Sonics basketball, so you haven't played your game in
trust this basketball team. I know that they're going to know how to win in Chicago. We're playing a great team. We're going to have to do some things very well. But this team is won on the road, is capable of winning on the road.
Okay, so what's the key? You guys got great rebounding. You played great defense. What are you going to have to do there? I mean, they haven't lost back-to-back games all season, much less 3 in a row.
The key is going to be turnovers. If we don't turn the ball over, we'll have a chance to win the game.
Okay, thanks. Let's get it back to Marv.
All right, Hannah, sounds like a pep rally that's taking place here in Seattle. The Bulls with their lowest scoring game of the playoffs, only 78 points. Lowest field goal percentage, shooting just 38%. That's the worst they've shot throughout the playoffs. And Michael Jordan, once again, not able to have an impact ball game. 3 of 9 from the field in the second half. Only 2 points in the fourth quarter. Jordan finished with 26 points. The high man for Seattle. Gary Payton, 23. Sean Kemp with 22. Percy Hawkins coming up big once again with 21 points, while the Bulls, led by Jordan, who did have 26, but now there are questions about the Bulls who are hit by injury. Ron Harper just played several minutes tonight. Scottie Pippen looking like he's bothered by the aching ankles. Pippen only 5 for 20 in his 44 minutes of play. So again, the final score, Seattle 89, Chicago 78. The Bulls now lead this best-of-7 NBA Finals series 3 games to 2. Stay tuned for the NBA Finals post-game show coming up immediately on CNBC. We'll be back at the United Center in Chicago for Game 6 Sunday night. Airtime in the East at 7:30. Your late local news coming up next, followed by The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. For Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm, Jim Gray, Bob Costas, and Julius Irving, I'm Marv Albert. And you have been watching the NBA on NBC. We say so long from Key Arena in Seattle, Washington.